podcast, episode number 8. And Sacred Ashram Ministries is where spirit meets sanctuary and where we embrace unity consciousness and strive to revive ancient wisdom from in today's world. Our mission is to provide individuals with the tools, knowledge, and guidance they need to unify their community of self and give agency to their higher consciousness through ancient healing, sciences, and technology. We believe that by integrating timeless teachings with modern insights, we create a harmonious and evolved community. So let's walk this path together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome to another enlightening episode of the Righteous Frequency Podcast. I am Paco Soul Knowledge, joined by my wonderful wife and co-host, Righteous.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So for my beautiful souls today, we have a lot of great topics to explore ahead. Well, not a lot, but a few, and they are very powerful. So all centered around enhancing our collective spiritual journey. So once again, thank you for taking this time to spend a moment with us. And we're going to be moving forward.
Absolutely. And as always, as we delve into today's subjects, let's remember the wisdom of Rumi. The wound is where the place where the light enters you, And this always reminds us that our challenges often lead to profound growth. Yes,
Indeed. So before we take the time to begin this episode today, we want to take a moment to acknowledge those that came before us. And you can also do this on your end too. You could take this moment to acknowledge your ancestors. It's always important, and it's a very powerful thing to acknowledge our ancestors, the ones whose prayers, sacrifices, and wisdom paved the way for us to be here today.
Absolutely. We speak their names and we bring their spirit into space with love, reverence, and gratitude. We give honor to our ancestors, past, present, and future.
I'll start off.
Okay.
I give honor to Yvonne, Grandma Gussie, Grandma Virgie, Grandma Ernestine. Your love guides me. Your strength lives with me.
Absolutely. Ashe. And me, I do give honor to Dee Dee, my late sister, rest in peace. Marcia, my magical godmother, Grandma Sabrina Ali, and Granddad James Hicks. You all walk with me in every breath and every step of this journey. So, yes.
Yes, indeed. May this conversation be worthy
of your legacy. Ashe, Aho, Amen.
Aho, Amen. All right.
Yes, indeed. All right.
So, before we go into our featured artists, because we like to showcase lesser known talent with regards to music. So before we go into today's featured artist, we want to take a moment to reflect on the sacredness of music. Because music isn't just entertainment, it's a bridge, a vibration. It's actually a spiritual technology that has the power to unlock memory and emotion and connection deep within the soul. And that's why it's able to move so many people throughout the world, across cultures, across languages. It's a barrier breaker.
Absolutely. So I guess, do you want to just go ahead and get into the artist right now before we get started, or?
Yeah, we can go into the artist really quickly though. In many ancient traditions, music because a lot of people might not know, music was actually used as medicine. Um, Music was also used as prayer. It was how people called down rain, they healed the sick, they praised the creator. That rhythm, that melody, it's not random. It's coded with intention. It speaks a language that's older than words. And when it's real, when it's soulful, you feel it. Not just in your ears, but in your bones. It's deeply moving.
Absolutely. And a little tidbit of information. The word music actually comes from the word muse, and that is those divine beings in Greek mythology who inspired art, poetry, song. The idea to be muse is to be touched by something that is beyond the ordinary, something divine. So when we speak of music, that's what true music does. It puts us in a space to be moved, and sometimes without words, right into the heart of the spirit. hmm So,
Exactly.
as we flow into this next track, we do invite you to listen with your spirit and let the sound take you somewhere deeper.
Yes, indeed.
All
Yes,
right.
indeed.
All right. All right. All right. Shout out to our Venusian reflections. Ain't that right, righteous?
Yes, indeed. Oh, and by the way, the artists, um, the two artists that you heard were Lucky Day, which is pretty well known, especially on the West Coast, and an artist that I'm just only recently becoming familiar with, Yeba, and I really like her music. I really like both of them, so both of them together, I feel like it's an ideal combination, one of many. But
Absolutely.
yes, shout out to our Venusian reflections. Yes, indeed. Friday.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So, where do you want to start?
So, okay, so um, it's not lost on me that we're gathering here on a Friday and
Yeah,
it's ruled by Venus, of course. Most people
absolutely.
know. Um, and fresh off the heels of that stunning pink moon we just had.
Right, right, right. So that moon, it was like truly something else. And like when we think about in aspects of Venus, it feels like a portal because Venus in all her forms has always represented things that signify more than love. They are a real good space for value, worth, abundance, and also just sacred beauty. So yeah.
Yeah, and when I think about Lakshmi in the Vedic tradition and Aphrodite in the Hellenic tradition,
hmm
both are connected to Venus. And so we see how cultures around the world have honored the divine feminine as a frequency and not just a singular form.
That's absolutely right. Lakshmi, excuse me, she represents rising from the lotus, and Aphrodite, she represents being born of the sea form or sea foam, I guess.
Mhm.
Both are symbols of emergence, and under this recent pink moon, it has been asking us like, what are you blossoming into? What is blossoming in you? What is ready to rise?
And what are we releasing also?
Mhm.
Because it's also Good Friday.
Yeah,
And that's a time of release, sacrifice, and surrender before resurrection.
yeah,
And that's Venus energy too. The kind of love that rebirths you.
absolutely. It's sacred birth. And I think sometimes we forget that, beauty in itself is a form of spiritual technology. Lakshmi, she teaches us that cleanliness, order, intentionality, they are magnets to abundance.
That's absolutely right. Just
hmm
like Aphrodite reminds us that love isn't just romance, it's reverence.
hmm
She brings us back to our inner and outer harmony and teaches us how to mirror the divine through embodiment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why the pink moon, it wasn't just like for aesthetics. It was more so of a vibrational check-in. Venus energy always is asking us, are you adorned from the inside out, or are you just putting polish on top of pain?
Mm-hmm. And that's
Yeah,
the frequency right there. Because the sacred feminine doesn't tolerate fragmentation. She calls us to wholeness. And sometimes that means releasing what once felt beautiful but no longer aligns.
absolutely. But what we're gonna do, we are gonna bookmark this conversation and return to it in a future episode, most definitely, because there is like so much that we can get into when we think about Venus, resurrection, divine feminine energy, healing. If y'all do want us to build more on Lakshmi and Aphrodite, or the sacred feminine in astrology, please let us know in the comments. So,
All right.
all right. With that being stated, we are most definitely honored to welcome to the Righteous Frequency podcast a very powerful healer, intuitive teacher, and founder of P1Health. Here to share with us deep insights into energetics of plants and natural healing and their unique upcoming event, Roots in Resonance, taking place at Nicholas Bookstore in Brooklyn, New York. We want to go ahead and welcome GJ of P1Health.
Peace,
I don't have a
peace.
soundboard, so
Welcome. Peace,
we
peace,
have to do a
peace.
little regular clap.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. How you guys doing?
We
Doing pretty
doing
good. Pretty
Good
good.
to hear.
good. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Excited to have you with us.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here as well. I'm just excited for whatever. I love communicating and building and growing with you guys. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's speak a little bit about your personal journey and founding of P1 Health. Can you take us into the roots of your healing journey, and what was uh, what was it that first inspired your path into like plant-based and energy-centered healing?
hmm Yeah. So when I was younger, I used to ask myself the question all the time, like, is this what life is supposed to be? Because I grew up eating whatever and my body was very sensitive to food, so I would eat food and I would get allergies, like chronic allergies, to the point where I would be that kid in class who was just sneezing nonstop.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember I used to talk to my dad and I used to be like, is this like what life is supposed to be like? And I always contemplated, like the sun and like, why is the world the way it is? um and then when I got to the age of man, I don't remember how old I was when I started like studying different type of information, but at
Hmm.
some age I just started looking into, energetics, like studying Montauk Chia and stuff and studying herbs. And ever since I was younger, I always liked to opt for the healthier things, like no soda, I just drank water. But then I would say a really big turning point was when I had a knee surgery. So I've been an athlete my entire life and I always played sports.
Hmm.
And I had been doing all this studying and research on, meditation and herbs and energy and all this different stuff. So I was like, after I had this surgery, I was like, all right, I'm about to go cold turkey, plant-based. I'm going all in. And the reason why it worked so well for me was because after, I went to the doctor and I had the surgery, they told me it would take 5 months for me to heal. But I was fully cleared in 3 months. So after that, I was like, yo, this diet is for me. I feel the best. And it really fed me, not only like physically, but I felt
Hmm.
lighter in my mind and in my body. So that's what kind of got me to start. And then once I started, it kind of just took me. Like I didn't really have a choice. So I would say that would be the gist of how things, played out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. So before I ask you the next question, that's crazy because I experienced something really similar. Um, I think there came a point where I was just allergic to so many different things. and I would break out in hives. And I would go and be tested for allergies for various things. And the doctor would just say, "Oh, it's a phase," or "We don't know. You just kind of gotta take this." You just kind of got to take this Benadryl or take some other itch medicine, the purple pills they used to give me. And then it came to a point where I started realizing that, okay, this is making me sleepy. It's making me not as productive as I want to be. I don't have the energy to go play with my friends like I want to. And it just, everything that they were giving me, it would not work at all. And so it was just like getting to a point where, okay, not only am I breaking out in hives so bad that I can't sleep, I'm itching through the night. It's just crazy. I'm itching in school. I'm itching so bad that I'm crying. It was just so bad that I think by the time I got to high school, I met people that were in the sports, that were boxers, and it helped me to start to go in a different direction. So I can totally relate to that aspect of your journey. What I wanted to ask was, where does the name P1Health come from, and what does it symbolize for you, and how does this reflect the essence of your work?
Yeah, so P1Health was a name that kind of just came out of nowhere, because I knew that I wanted to do something that dealt with healing. I knew that I didn't want to stay in the box of just dealing with herbs, because healing is so much more vast than just that. As you said before, music and sound is healing. So when I first started out, I knew that, and I didn't want to put myself in a box. So I called myself P1Health, meaning part one health. I wanted this to be, the origin of where the journey began, if that makes sense. So, it actually started in, so when I said that it kind of took me and I didn't really have a choice, this started in a college dorm. And I dropped out of school. And in that last semester, I was like, I got to do something. So I was like, let me just start this. I had plants growing in the closet, and I had boxes of herbs everywhere. So then I looked around me and I was like, let's just go with P1Health, and then it stuck. And now it's like, that's kind of like my name now. When I go outside, people are, oh, P1Health. And so it just sticks. And I like what it represents. So yeah, that's basically what it is. And working with the roots and the herbs as the first level of healing, so that when you first have that, foundation, you could work upwards, and you could pair that physical plants with more energetic and powerful practices and routines and things of that nature. So yeah, that was the origin of that, and kind of the meaning, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
And were there any, speaking, because I know that you said that you used to play sports, but from that situation that happened, were there like any major turning points besides that, or spiritual awakenings that guided you to work so deeply with the plant realm?
Yeah. So when I was 18, I think, I don't remember how old I was. I smoked weed a lot. So I haven't smoked in, like, I don't know, 7 months or 8 months or so. But when I started smoking weed when I think I was like 15 or 16, and it used to be very like chronic, like, because I just loved that feeling. And the interesting thing about the cannabis, which is an entheogen, it works with what's called the CB1 and the CB2 receptors, the endocannabinoid system. So I was working with this plant, not fully understanding what it was. It's altering consciousness, and it's altering the body's it's the body's way of balancing itself. That's what the endocannabinoid system is, and that's why we're not taught about it. But that's another topic. When I was around 18 or 19, after years of chronic use of cannabis, I took an edible once. And I had taken them before, but this one was very powerful. I'm talking, my eyes were like this all the way. And I instinctively did some very long and conscious breaths into my diaphragm. Um, and after I did these breaths, I was on Instagram doing it. It was like kind of like a program that just happened. And I seen something on Instagram of a person getting shot by an arrow.
Oh.
And this was my first time having like an experience where I was like, my consciousness left my like brain, like it left my body for like a split second. And I seen myself from another perspective getting shot by an arrow. And it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And I felt it, I experienced it. And I even have a birthmark in the exact same spot where I felt it. So I was like, so after I had that, I was like, yo, like, what is up with that? And then, as I, learned more, I found that, like how I mentioned, the CB1 receptors, they go throughout the entire central nervous system. So this is what the THC is binding to. It's binding to the receptors in your spine and in your brain. And what Paramahansa Yogananda says, which I'm sure y'all are familiar with, he says that, what is it? He says that the brain, the spinal column is the highway to the divine. That's what Paramahansa Yogananda says. So if we're working with receptors that are on this particular, highway, for lack of a better term, or the spinal cord, which every ancient culture talks about, this must be a powerful plant that's been revered. And this is why they created reefer madness and propaganda. And this is why they had to domesticate the plant and poison the plant so that when people do use it, they're not really getting the heightened benefits. And they're also not using it in ritualistic purpose, and they're not respecting the plant. So yeah, that was kind of, I would say, my first experience with a plant medicine where I had a strong, feeling from it. That's what I say.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it was a pretty, I would say it was definitely, when it happened, it was very like, I wouldn't say traumatic, but it was like shocking. Like I was shocked. I was speechless for like, a minute or two. But thankfully I had somebody around me and I was able to tell them like what just happened to me. So it was kind of like, I just kind of was able to observe what happened and move on from that,
Yeah. Wow.
That is powerful.
Man, yes, indeed.
That is a powerful way to learn about that particular plant medicine. That's powerful.
Yeah.
How has your connection to the plant energies evolved over the years, and how do you stay attuned to their guidance?
So wait, what was the first question? Can you ask the first one again?
So the first one is, how has your connection to those plant medicines or to marijuana, for example, how has your connection evolved over the years?
Okay, so it evolved because after that experience, I continuously used the plant, and I had more visions after that. Yeah, I've had more after that particular experience, and they always happen when I least expect it, and I have to visually see something that triggers me to get like a vision, if that makes sense. So I would use it, and I would pair it with, either I'm sitting with myself, or I'm doing some type of practice, or some body movement, or I'm contemplating something, or I even began to grow the plant after that. It's a beautiful plant to watch grow. And when we grow plants, we create a very powerful relationship with them. So I studied it immensely, from how we grow it to the science of it. So I became obsessed with it because I was very passionate about it. And then now I'm doing an event where I'm talking about it tomorrow. So I would say my experience with it has just become better and better. And I look forward to working with the plant on a continuous basis all the time, whether I'm inhaling it or consuming it for the health benefits, or making it in a tea. I just want it around me because it's so powerful, not only for the psychoactive and the spiritual energetic benefits, but
Mhm.
even to do mundane things like make clothes or make rope or, you know, whatever the case is. Hemp seeds are the most powerful plant protein on the planet, arguably. So yeah, it's a superfood for sure.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
That is, we can definitely hear the passion that you have for
Yes.
that particular plant. We hear it, we respect it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question for you. When someone encounters your work for the first time, what is it that you seek to receive in regards to that recipient or that person who, you know, requires your services? What do you hope that they feel or experience when they do business with you? Or,
So
you know,
the number one thing I want people to experience, whether it be a consultation or an herbal tea or even an
mm,
oil or whatever they get from my website, or if I talk to somebody in person at the park, or I just want them to leave with a transformed perception on life itself. Because health is not just about, you know, eating healthy and exercising, but the ancients understood that, you know, your physical health um, it's not a, I wouldn't say it's a direct reflection of your spiritual connection, but you can use your physical health as a path towards
Mm.
your evolution. That's how I personally view it. So I like for people to view their health as like a way to transform yourself as a tool. So when you go on your health journey, you can start from point A, where it's maybe taking an herbal tea every single day, and maybe it doesn't taste good, but you're doing it to enhance your willpower and to, you know, work with particular organs and energies in your body. And then you can use that same principle to, you know, do altar work, or, you know, we could go into a billion different topics, but the concept of healing can be applied to any aspect of our life. So that's what I want people to leave with, just like um, that mindset. That's the main thing.
Mm.
absolutely, absolutely.
Powerful. Powerful.
Yeah,
And
the last thing I'll say is, you know, an herbal tea is temporary, but what you can get from the herbal tea in terms of the benefits that it'll give you and the feeling that it'll give you, that's what will actually last, depending on your reaction to, you know, how you experience after the tea. So after your experience with the herbs, are you willing to, you know, foster that holistic lifestyle so that you can experience bliss instead of suffering?
Mm.
That's a better way to put it.
That's a powerful
yeah,
statement. That's a
very
powerful
powerful.
statement. It really makes you think what it is
So,
we choose.
absolutely, absolutely. So moving into your social media presence, um, on your Instagram, right? Your Instagram, you showcase a lot of blended practices in terms of holistic living. How do you integrate these modalities to promote like overall well-being when it comes to holistic practices?
So, the main thing, like how I always say to people, it's not just about the teas or the herbs. It's about making it a part of who you are. So, um, so the question was, how do I integrate everything into my lifestyle? Is that kind of the gist of the question?
Pretty
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
um, so it does require discipline and willpower, which is why I mentioned that in the previous question. um because you kind of have to program yourself to do the things that are part of who you are instead of doing what's comfortable. So for example, when I was younger, um I used to just stay up all night, and maybe either I was watching videos, or I would read something, or I would watch some anime, or whatever I was doing. This was not beneficial for my health. So I had to deprogram that negative, you know, program out of my reality and out of my brain, out of my mind, so that I can experience, you know, a better reality. I don't want to wake up at 3 p.m. every day. I want to wake up when the sun rises. And that's another thing. Waking up early to get that sunrise and to allow that circadian rhythm to be in line, because I would say that's one of the foundations to a healthy existence and to good life. Your circadian, you know, your light and dark timing has to be correct, which is why usually I wouldn't even have this bright light on. But for the sake of this, it's definitely worth it. But I would just say being able to set time for your practices. So getting that nature, getting that sunrise, getting that sunset, getting that exercise, drinking your tea even when you don't want to, doing your routines and your practices when you feel tired, like getting in bed when you need to get in bed. So I would say the main thing is just discipline and consistency, and that's when people see results. And that's what I had to do in order to get that result, because I have been in a place where I experienced, I would say, a slight depression because when I first moved to the city, I wasn't getting as much nature, and man, I need that. If I don't get it, I had to go on a walk before this because my body tells me like, yo, go on a walk. So I had to listen and be obedient to that, that calling that I get. So that's another thing that I would say: be obedient when your body sends you a message. It's time to fast. It's time to take this tea. It's time to take this herb. And I was about to go into another topic, but let me let me just hold off on that.
Oh no, you are on a roll. And I think, well, one of the things you kind of touched on was fasting. And the question that I have is, you've shared insights on fasting and its benefits. Can you elaborate on how fasting complements the holistic lifestyle approach, healing and better well-being?
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about fasting, this is a universal tool that's used. When we look at animals, they hibernate, so they're in a fasted state. When we look at when you sleep, obviously you're fasting, and you're getting a lot of benefits from that. We look in scripture, Jesus fasted for 40 days.
40
Buddha
days.
fasted for 65 days. So we're seeing this throughout every single culture in the natural world. We're seeing it everywhere. So from my experience with fasting is, it allows you to be more in touch with your body and your mind, because I think mind is a very vague term, because you think brain, you don't really know what it means. But my definition, when I say mind, I kind of like to associate the mind with like your entire like biofield, your body, your brain, everything together. I like to tell that is the mind. And when you fast, you're actually able to connect more with your mind. And this is kind of getting into another topic of the entheogens. What they do is they kind of open you up so that you can feel how you actually feel. And this is a lot of the reasons why people don't want to heal or choose to suffer. It's because they're unconscious of how they really feel. So fasting opens you up and it shows you what you feel like. And this is why when people go on a 10-day fast or a 6-day or whatever they do, they get a detox symptom, and you're like, yo, what is this stuff coming out of my body? This is not good for me. It's making me sick. But what people don't realize is that the sickness is actually the healing. But the Western medicine programmed you to think that it's bad and that you got to eat chicken noodle soup when you start sneezing. And everyone's had that said to them. Chicken noodle soup. That's crazy.
Makes you wonder.
With a soda on the side.
Yes. Wash it down with some juice.
I would say that is my perspective on fasting, though, just that it opens you up in simple terms.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's well said, man, brother. And a little bit prior, you mentioned how like even you had to go out for a walk, before you got a chance to meet up with us today. In your post often on Instagram, you emphasize the importance of grounding. And when it comes to that, how does that practice influence a person's energy and connection to the earth from your perspective?
So grounding, I mean, a lot of people are talking about grounding nowadays, and it's really trendy. and it's good that it's trendy because it needs to be said more. But I think that there's a proper way to ground. It's not just putting your feet on the ground. It's about becoming one with the environment. And when you become like one with earth and one with the environment, that's another way for you to open yourself up to actually feel more. Because when we talk about like expanding consciousness, which is another trendy term, I think another way that you could say that is to just be aware of like what's going on. And if you're not aware of what's going on in your body, how you about to be aware of anything else? So um so grounding, it allows you to just enhance that experience. Not to mention you're getting the negative ions from the earth, and that's just providing an infinite amount of benefits to the body. Pair that with the sun work, whether it be watching the sun rise and getting that positive energy so that you can circulate the positive negative. When the sun is directly in the sky, we have that detoxification that we're getting from the sun. So it's cleansing us on a cellular level. This is all a part of grounding, in my personal, from my perspective, because we don't just stand on the ground when it's dark outside. We stand on the ground while the sun is up. So it's like you're a battery and you're getting charged at the same time. So that's how I like to view grounding. And the other thing that I mentioned is working with the feet more. Because a lot of us have domesticated feet. We wear these rubber things and our toes are all scrunched together, and we don't realize the implications that this has with all of our meridian points ending in the feet. Our fascia is actually all condensed within the foot. The entire body is mapped within the foot. So going outside and running without shoes on is extremely beneficial. Even if you jump on a rock or something, or you jump on a stick, these things are not only providing benefits to every single organ in the body, because this is a form of acupuncture, literally by stepping on rocks and sticks, but you're actually improving your fascial flow, your fascial what's the word that I could use? You're opening up your fascia, which is, I believe, is the energetic, the physical manifestation of how our energy flows within our body. So yeah, grounding is very multidimensional, but I would say that's a very simple answer in that you're opening. It all goes back to opening up the body and reducing the amount of stagnation within the system.
Okay.
That's super powerful.
Yeah, indeed.
I definitely see that, and I see it is highly necessary to practice a level of awareness that allows you to be fully engaged in the present moment. When I think of grounding, that's another aspect of it, is being that I think of is being in the present moment. And that's very powerful. How you put it is very powerful. You've highlighted adaptogens in your content. Which adaptogens do you find are most effective, and how do those adaptogens support the body's resilience?
So my favorite adaptogens, there's a lot. I like to take uh astragalus. That's one of my favorites. Because whenever I feel any type of stagnation within my system, the astragalus is so powerful for just enhancing the white blood cell function within the body. And in traditional Chinese medicine, they used to say that it would enhance what's called wei qi, or defensive energy in the body. So you're literally creating a force field around yourself when you take astragalus root, from my perspective. Um, Another one is called suma root. And suma root is not very well known, but I take it very regularly. And it's called, another name for it is Brazilian ginseng. And it has a natural plant steroid in it, so it really helps in regards to energy and strength. But on the other side to it, all the adaptogens help to balance hormones as well. That's another aspect to it. They balance hormones. They provide you with energy. Um, but I do think that adaptogens work best when we take bitters and when we cleanse the colon. This is when we can absorb the benefits of the adaptogens at their highest level. What are some other adaptogens that I take? I have a lot of adaptogens in my products, but I don't take all of them. I know fenugreek seed has some adaptogenic properties. I take ashwagandha pretty regularly. That's very popular. What else do I have that I use?
Shout out to Dwayne Felder. He said you cooking right now.
I would
Yeah.
say that's pretty much it that I have. That I use on a regular basis.
Hmm. Man, all right. Had to
The
take.
big two are sumaru and astragalus. Those are my two favorites that I use a lot.
Mm,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah,
Sumeru.
yeah. Take notes.
I'm definitely taking notes. I'm definitely taking notes.
Take notes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Brazilian ginseng. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sure.
So, and we're gonna touch upon this a little bit later as well. But um, your collaboration with Nicholas Bookstore is really interesting. What can you tell us that inspired this partnership? And we'll get more into it later, but just for a little slight preview, what can attendees expect from this event?
I, I,
Uh-oh.
I do,
You broke up a little bit.
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah, I do feel
Uh-oh.
I do feel like I'm forgetting some. I do feel like
Okay, you breaking up a bit.
Yeah, I don't think we can hear you. Just a little bit of a delay.
very in-depth information at
Gotcha.
this event and how we can use these plants. Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Hold on.
I think it was like a little bit of a delay because we can hear you pretty good right now.
Can y'all hear?
We can hear you. Oh, you went out.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all can hear me good now, right?
We can hear
Yep.
you good now.
Okay. All right. So the question was, y'all can hear me, right? Just
Yeah.
double
Yeah.
checking.
We can hear you. Yeah, making sure.
Okay. The question was, what are we going to be delving into at the event at Nicholas Brooklyn? And was there another question?
No, well, we'll have more later, but we just wanted to give like the those who are listening right now a little bit of a preview, like what inspired your collaboration with Nicholas Bookstore.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. What inspired the collaboration? So the owner is really cool. I have a lot of respect for her. Um, uh, she does a lot in the community in terms of bringing people together that want to actually help people heal. Whether it be, I know Queen of Fool was there last week, and everyone knows what she could do in terms of helping women heal. Next week is going to be Ross Ben, who talks a lot about crystals and the healing properties of minerals. Um, and he's Wayne Chandler's been there. He's had a bunch of different people doing events at Nicholas Brooks Bookstore, and I feel like it's just a safe haven for people who are trying to improve themselves but don't really know how. And that's what inspired me to do the event at Nicholas BK, because um I'll be able to share my insights and my experiences with people that want to become better, because all these diseases have become normalized, but they're not normal. So for the people who are experiencing these types of suffering, we want to help them. um we want to show them the roots of their issues and how these roots can help them. But at the same time, how when you connect more with your body, your body has the ability to heal itself on its own, but only if we know how to open up the body properly and how to feel the body. Because if we don't have a connection with our own body, this is when we don't have a desire to heal because we don't know we're sick. So
That's true.
yeah, that's definitely what inspired me to do it, because here in the city, so many people, I would say more than most places, they're very sick because they're not in nature as much. The air is not super clean. So really emphasizing the importance of having a practice and a routine that fosters that, that healthy nervous system and a healthy gut and, healthy practices. And yeah, that's basically what we're going to talk about. And hopefully we can bring people some long lasting results and change, not just temporary. People like the information and then they leave. If people want that, I don't want them to come. I want people to leave transformed, so that's what I want.
Okay, that is powerful. That is
Yes,
powerful.
indeed.
And Nicholas Bookstore is like a historical place. I think all the greats make a visit to Nicholas Bookstore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'm, of course, in Georgia and I'm from California, but I've been to New York a few times. And every time I went, Nicholas Bookstore was like always, oh, you got to go there, you got to go there, you got to go there. So yeah, you're definitely at the right place amongst greatness and people who have really made an impact in our community.
The funny thing is about Nicholas BK is that when I went there for the first time, I had no idea what it was, and I seen a flyer on YouTube, and I was like, oh, let me go to this thing, and I didn't even know nothing about Nicholas Bookstore. So it kind of just happened automatically. Like I didn't even do nothing. Yeah. So, and then it's been a really good, connection and a really good ability for me to just meet more people and, expand my network and help people. So, that's how I know that things always happen when they're truly meant to.
Ashe. Ashe.
Yeah, it's a lot of
100%
great
agreement.
there.
You mentioned the significance of community and healing, which is very dear to our cause. How do you foster a sense of community through your online presence?
Yeah, so I just like to be consistent, and even if sometimes it may seem like I'm repeating something, with the people who are in the community, I've seen that people are actually making better decisions, and they're choosing better things because it all comes down to their choices. So if I could just keep saying the same thing in a different way or saying different things and showing y'all scientific proof, it really just helps people to get that sense of like, yo, what he's saying is true. I got to stop playing with my health. I got to stop wasting my time. I have to start capitalizing on this blessing of life. Like, it's not something that I should just, sit around and eat popcorn and watch Netflix all day. Like, I should be proactive and serious about my life. So that's what I've experienced from, having the online presence. Just being able to see somebody, like, for example, I work out a lot, especially outdoors now that it's getting warmer. And a lot of the people that I meet, they follow my Instagram page, and some of them are starting to fast more, and some of them are starting to incorporate some of the exercises that I do that work from a holistic perspective, holistic fitness. So I would definitely say that's it, because, and this is the last thing I'll say, when it comes to healing the body, like, so many of us are so disconnected that we have to relearn everything. So it's kind of like when you're healing yourself, you have to be patient as if you was like teaching a baby something, because we got to learn how to walk the correct way. We got to learn how to use the bathroom the correct way. We got to learn how to eat. We got to learn how to sleep. We're like babies. So that's another aspect to it. It takes a community to raise a child. So it takes a community to heal somebody from a holistic perspective when they've been programmed, the incorrect way. So I definitely think community is like the number one most important thing in regards to healing.
Mm. I
Absolutely. Yeah,
wholeheartedly
absolutely.
agree.
I can definitely agree. We are can you hear me? Am I
Oh,
there?
you went out.
Yeah, you went out for a
Yeah,
second.
okay. Well, I was just saying, like, I definitely agree. Um, I'm definitely learning myself, and relearning a lot of things, and you definitely have a wide range of knowledge. I truly appreciate that. Um, on
Oh, you went out.
Yeah.
All right, am I back? Am I good?
Yeah.
Yep, you back.
Okay, let me get this out quick then, in case I fade to black again.
Oh, you went out again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but on your
Look,
on
I
your
can
social
do that.
media, you have mentioned, or you often speak about, the mind body connection. How do you guide individuals who seek to achieve harmony between, like, the mental and physical aspect of health?
So how do I do that? By showing them that it's an illusion, that there's no separation between the two. They're really the
Mm.
same system. So, and the ancients understood this, and this is why they always seen the entire system as one whole, and they didn't like to chop things up and separate things. And this is what Western medicine does, and this is why so many people are confused. Is because they try to like isolate systems and isolate the body, but every single system within the body is connected. Every single organ is connected, and they all impact each other. So, when you talk about, like, for example, the mental aspect to it. For example, when we talk about like in negative emotion like fear, a lot of people think that this is just in your head, but in TCM, they say that fear actually negatively impacts the kidneys. But from an energetic perspective, when we do these energetic practices at the correct time with the correct herbs, with the correct mindset, we can use our own mind plus physical practices while focusing on a particular area in the body to actually remove fear from the body. Because if I could just share a testimony of my own, I used to be scared to do certain things in regards to feeling unworthy, which is an illusion. So
Mm,
I went through uh like a 2 month phase where I did the same practice every single day. And I was focusing on an acupressure point. I was using a healing sound. And ever since I did that and I paired it with a fast where I was just eating straight fruits, my
Hmm.
my feeling of unworthiness has just is it went away because I was pairing the mental practices with the physical practices and I fused them together. So it gave me that whole benefit, the holistic benefit, not just the isolated benefit. Because if you got depression or anxiety, they'll tell you to take some type of antidepressant. But
Mm.
from a holistic perspective, we want to work on the part of the body that's storing that negative energy. And this is why we're going to be talking about fascia at the event tomorrow, because not to go too off topic, but the longest and biggest connective tissue in the body is called fascia. It is the number one sensory organ. This is an organ beneath the skin, and it covers all of our organs, that has 250 million plus uh, nerve endings, meaning
wow.
that we're actually receiving information from the external world, sounds, vibrations. Uh, it even has shown us that we have a sixth sense, like scientifically proven. Because I also believe it's the physical manifestation of the aura, because this organ has the ability to show you where you are in space time. So, for example, if you can write with your eyes closed, this is a demonstration of your ability to use your fascia, because you can't
Mm,
physically see it, but your fascia is the one that's letting you know where your hand is in space time. So
wow.
it's a very interesting organ. And I believe that when we have, for example, anger, which works with the liver, the fascial tissue that surrounds the liver is constricting and it's getting dehydrated because the anger is causing it stagnation, and stagnation is the cause of all disease from my perspective. And when we continuously get angry and we have this suffering, you at some point you're gonna say, "Oh, I got hepatitis," and you think that it's just a physical thing, but your negative emotions towards life is going to result in the physical going downhill, and then you're gonna have holes inside of your mind, and now you're gonna be having desires to go drink alcohol, and it's kind of like just like a whole like cycle of destruction that you go down. And that's getting into another topic of the cycle of life versus the cycle of destruction. And they have that in, yeah, that's another principle that's talked about in traditional healing as well. But that's a whole other topic.
You are a huge library.
I was going to say that. I was thinking encyclopedia of information.
Yes. And it's absolutely awesome. All the more reason for people, if they have the opportunity, to make their way down to Nicholas Bookstore and see you, because they're definitely in for a treat.
Absolutely.
I have a question really quickly. How does trauma, especially generational or cultural, affect the ability to hear and feel the healing energies of plants?
Powerful. Okay. So trauma, speaking of fascia, which is going to be one of the topics tomorrow, the fascia is like a protector of the nervous system. That's one of the functions that it has. So when people experience serious trauma, and let's say somebody, whether it be physical or emotional trauma, the fascia holds on to it, because when too much trauma, whether it be physical trauma in the form of toxins or a surgery, or energetic trauma in the form of getting yelled at and screamed at, the body experiences it the same way in the form of creating tension within the fascia. And this is when we see people have, a poor posture, and they have maybe a bent neck, or they got a bent knee. This is all energetic. It starts energetic first, and then it slowly but surely manifests as, I got a hip tightness. So this is why the ancients, they and this is my perspective, anything that's not ideal is suffering. So dang, I kind of forgot the question. I remember. So it was, how does trauma impact your ability to work with plant medicines, correct?
Yeah, and especially generational or cultural trauma. Yep.
Yeah, so the generational trauma, that's like just bad karma, right? Like you just have bad thinking patterns. So if you go to try to, for example, take when you talk about a plant medicine like a psilocybin, or even like DMT, the toad, or whatever you take, this is when people experience what's called bad trips. And I don't believe in bad trips. I don't believe that exists. I believe you're just seeing yourself for the first time, because the mushrooms and all these things, they force you to look at yourself, and they open your mind up, like quite literally, like from a scientific perspective, but also from an energetic perspective. So so you can, so to answer the question, if you have a lot of trauma that's not dealt with, you can experience suffering during your trips. Or if you have been doing that self-love, and you've been working on self, and you're still gonna probably get whooped, and you might cry a little bit because it's a teacher, but at the same time you can leave with a sense of gratitude and joy. But either way, from my perspective, the plant medicines, I would say that everyone who takes them can experience benefit, just depending on who you are. Because some people, maybe they're just not ready, and they can experience real nervous system shock. But for most people, even though you may experience some real, one of the things that I learned from the mushroom is that, it'll take you to your own personal hell. And that's not always a bad thing. But it can be if you are attached to it. So like if you get out of your trip or during your trip, and you like, yo, this sucks, this is the worst, like I'm suffering right now, you're gonna it's gonna become because some people do that, and it's gonna be more harmful to you if you identify with that suffering. But if you just like learn how to experience it and then let it go, because a lot of it is probably not yours, or it may be something that you picked up when you was in the womb or whatever. It could be anything. You just gotta learn how to experience it and let it go. And that's been my experience, because I've had some very, I'm talking being in the shower, crying, laughing. 5 minutes later, I'm yelling. 5 minutes later, you know what I mean? So, but I don't regret none of it. As uncomfortable as it may have been, it just allows me to move forward, and that's what's most important. So that's what I was saying in regards to trauma and plant medicines.
Powerful once again. Yeah, my experience with the plant medicines is that even when you feel like you're going through something bad, it's a good idea to just surrender. I think that's what it's calling for us to do, is surrender. And even through what and listening to you and everything that you've said, a lot of what is called for from us, the healthy changes, the healthy lifestyle, listening to our body and recognizing that we're actually suffering and we're ignoring it. All of that is a call to surrender. And so, yeah, once again, powerful, very powerfully put.
Absolutely. All right. I think I'm back. I want to touch on one quick question that I seen Brother Dwayne. He said, so when you eat sweets, what's the healthy snacks to eat? I know that dates are one of them, but are there more? Because sometimes I get a sweet tooth and I want to scratch that itch the healthy way. I feel you there, brother. I feel you there.
Okay. So what I would recommend is to not eat any processed sugar at all. No brown sugar, no white sugar, no. Just stay away from all of it. None of the sugar. Dates definitely are good because they have a compound in them that doesn't result in your blood sugar spiking. So there's people who be out here eating 4 or 5 whole dates and they have very minimal blood sugar spikes. So it's good for people with diabetes. And another thing that you could do when you do eat your sweets is pair your sweets with bitters. And this might sound a little crazy. Yeah, but when you eat sugar or anything, so not fruits, because those are different. We're talking about acid forming sweets. When you eat acidic sweets, this is what the parasites like, because the parasites thrive off of anything that makes you suffer. And this is why people become addicted to suffering, because they forget that they're not the parasites. But that's another question. That's another topic. When you pair the sweets with bitters, the parasites come out because they taste the sweet, but then the bitter comes and it knocks them out and it kills them. Yeah. So that's another thing that you could do. And I would also just recommend, like, just eat the natural sweeteners. So like dates are a good one. Coconut. If you are gonna eat any sugar, you could opt for coconut sugar, or what's another, like maple syrup is another one that's not super, bad for you. So that's what I was saying in regards to sweeteners, but you want to stay with the fruits for the most part. I mean, they're very helpful for the body in every regard. So that's my favorite.
Absolutely. So one last question before we move forward into the upcoming event tomorrow. And in your sessions and your teachings, how do you blend intuition, energy work, and overall just plant knowledge, plant wisdom together?
So intuition, plant knowledge, and what was the other thing?
Energy work.
So really when it comes to intuition, I kind of just listen to my body and I tell others to do the same thing, because the body does communicate. It's just like learning how to listen to it and getting rid of all the noise. Um, and another thing that can be, this might sound a little weird, but like when you smell certain herbs, or when you like, you kind of just know what they do based on their appearance, their smell, where they grow, when they grow. That's another aspect to it. And this is why I think it's so important, is if you're providing herbal medicine, you should know how the plant grows, where it grows, because another aspect that the ancients used to talk about is when a plant would grow in harsh conditions, this is how you knew that it had extremely powerful benefits. Because if it could grow like a weed, it has compounds in it that will make your body very, what's the word? Very tough, for lack of a better word. Resilient. Yeah, that's the perfect word. It'll make your body very resilient. And then when it comes to energy work, I mean, when you feel something, it kind of goes back to the main thing of just listening to yourself and trusting yourself. Like when you have a thought that you know is not you, and you know is negative, and you know that it's not supposed to be in your mind, you go back to your practices and go back to your foundation and kill that thought, like get rid of it, destroy it, with the energy practices, so that you don't have to suffer no more. But it's only when we try to like ignore it, or we try to like, you know, we try to just like disregard it, but it's there. So I take every type of negative thought or negative experience, and I like to say thank you for showing me what was in my mind that I don't want no more, you know. And then when we pair that with the herbs, like from an energetic perspective, so many herbs, according to the ancients, have been said to help clear the body of energy. Like a big one is Cascara Sagrada. They say that it removes bad spirits from the body. So it's like, for example, if you have issues letting go of the past, this is just a random example that popped up in my head. Maybe you should do an entire ritual where you focus and you work with Cascara Sagrada, and you drink it every day for 9 days, and you focus on the thing that you don't want to let go of, and you imagine yourself releasing it. Like, do a whole thing, you know what I mean? And you know, light a orange candle, because it works with the energy of fall, which works with the large intestine. Like, that's what we want to do. We want to make a whole ritual when it comes to getting rid of a negative thought or a negative energy, or a physical blockage, like whatever the case may be. We want to throw all of our resources at it. So yeah, that's my answer to that.
I need a soundboard, because I was type of round of applause.
I did not know that Cascara Sagrada did that, or I didn't know that it was used in that way.
Yeah, that's what dang. And you want to know what's funny? The indigenous of this land, actually, I think it was like the Lakota tribe, or I don't remember the tribe, but I actually have it written down somewhere. The particular tribe that was actually using Cascara Sagrada and said that, they said that it removes negative, bad spirits, quote unquote, is what they said. Yeah, that's what they said. It removes bad spirits. But why do you think that when people get constipated, they're so irritable and they're angry and they're upset? The ancients didn't look at it from the perspective of the left brain perspective of, oh, he's constipated and his vagus nerve is overstimulated and his brain is inflamed. They looked at it from the point of view, it's like, yo, you got something stuck in you. You got parasites and you got bad energy. So we got to get it out. And then another thing, and this is getting into another topic, the ancients embraced the healing that came with the plants, because when we look at every single culture, they're throwing up, they're doing healing rituals where there's diarrhea everywhere, and they doing crazy stuff. And to the outsider, it looks like, yo, these people are wild. Like, why are they doing this? But from their perspective, or taking 20 grams of mushrooms, crazy stuff. From their perspective, this is a whole ritual, and it's an ability for them to transform themselves. They got the fire burning, they got the drums, like it's a whole thing. So that release is where the real healing happens. But usually it's uncomfortable, but it's only uncomfortable to the false self, you know, or to the ego. So yeah.
You are definitely, yeah, you are cooking. You are
Yeah,
definitely on something with that, because that's
man.
what we do when we sit with ayahuasca. It definitely is a purgative, and it is not pretty. And depending on how you prepared for that particular ceremony, it can be, it can definitely be a sight. But it is, every aspect of it is spiritual. The
Mhm.
vomiting, as you just mentioned, every aspect, um, the purging, the diarrhea, um, the purging from both ends at the same time. It is horrifying, but it is totally healing and cleansing when it's all said and done. And so, yeah, you are absolutely right. I had all kind of memories come to the forefront while you were talking. Like, what?
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah,
Peace, peace.
there's a lot of other plants
It's
that
like,
actually will do the same thing as well. But like for example, there's one in Africa called Iboga. This is a
mm,
really dope plant.
Mhm.
And Iboga, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar, but people will take
Mhm.
Iboga and then they'll be cured of all addictions. So like they'll smoke cigarettes for 20, 30 years. They take Iboga and then they'll sleep for like 8, 10 hours, 20 hours, and then they'll be gone. The desire to smoke cigarettes will be gone. So
mm,
that's
Yeah.
another crazy one. Or even right here on this land where I'm standing at right now, I've made videos about holly, and y'all know the powerful properties of holly. And the ancients would take the holly leaves, and for anyone that doesn't know, holly is the only plant native to not North America, but to the land of America that has nicotine in it.
mm,
So what they would do was they would take the leaves and they would boil them for days, and it would be a very concentrated substance. And I forget the name that they would have for it, but it was like a black tar substance. And then
mm,
they would drink it, and this amount of nicotine in the body at one time is not healthy whatsoever. But once again, it was a healing mechanism. So they was throwing up and all this stuff, but while they're throwing up, they got the drums playing, and this drum is creating a field. So it's like while this person is open and vulnerable, the whole tribe is around them and it's facilitating this transformation. And the fires, but like it's a whole thing. So
mhm,
this is what's so important for people to understand when I give you a bitter tea. Like, don't just complain that it tastes bad. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, remember what your ancestors went through. You could sit on the toilet for 20 minutes after drinking some tea. At least you're not being, put through this suffering, that's a matter of perspective. They
mhm,
probably enjoyed the whole ceremony of throwing up and using the bathroom,
mhm,
but now that's all I had to say though. It's just like shift your perspective on healing. That's the most important thing. When you experience suffering, it's not always a bad thing. It could be you releasing. Is the point I'm trying to make.
mm,
Man, that's powerful. Um, Righteous, before you answer your question, I do just want to say that when you mentioned Iboga,
mhm,
one of the medicines that we are familiar with and that we've worked with, Sananga, has one of
Mm.
the elements of Iboga within it. One of the medicines that you put in your eye, and often when you take it, like you have to fast for a set amount of days, or you have to incorporate some sort of fast when you're using Sananga, and it's really good for also decalcifying the pineal. So I did just want to add that in since you mentioned it, because man, I get excited when I hear about it, since I'm we're on our path of learning about these things as well. But sorry, go ahead, Righteous.
Iboga is becoming, is growing in popularity.
Yeah.
Um, especially, I know, especially in like this area, like the southeast and the east part of the country. Iboga is getting really big. We haven't well, yeah, we haven't really sat with that medicine, but I am definitely open to sitting with it. Um, after, of course, learning a little bit more about it. But it does sound like a lot of people have had some very powerful experiences. And also that's something that a lot of people are not aware of, is the power of these sacred plant medicines to stop addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And all kinds of addiction, food addictions, alcohol, drug addictions. Very powerful in that regard. I spoke with a few people who worked in the social services sector, and they were talking about how they were backing initiatives to get more plant medicine knowledge, information, and access to people who were addicted to various drugs and chemicals. Yes, they do. Oletha says that they definitely help to stop addiction. They definitely do. Those cravings, you start to notice that after those ceremonies, those cravings they dissipate. It's like they're no longer there. And so just imagine if those treatments were available to people who were addicted to all kinds of chemicals and drugs like crack. If they had access to that, there will be a lot less addicts, I believe. So yeah, that was very powerful. Very powerful, very stirring. So let's see. Roots and resonance. We talked about you'll be speaking at Nicholas Bookstore in Brooklyn on April 19th. You gave us some insights on what people can expect. The title itself, Roots and Resonance, is so powerful. What does it mean to you personally?
So roots and resonance, it's kind of just, so when we hear the term resin, like resonates, it's like something that is in, vibrational match. So roots is just, the concept of the plant itself and like working with the energy of the plant. And then the resonance aspect to it is just like combining the two. So like combining the powerful healing modalities when it comes to holistic health, and then the powerful healing, tools that we could get from healing sounds and working with sounds. Because my research that I've been doing lately into the fascia, oh my God, y'all are gonna see it's gonna be all over the place in a few years. Everyone's gonna be talking about this fascia because it's just like, it just does so many different things in the body, and I'm still looking into it, and the research is brand new. I'm talking like some of this stuff has been out for like half a year, some of this research. So that's that's one of the things that inspired me to want to do this, learning about the largest sensory organ in our body, because humans aren't even visual creatures. Like dogs' number one sense is smell. A lot of other animals have, a primary sense, but humans is all about feeling. Like that's our number one sense, but we just don't know how to feel. So when we use these practices and we use the roots and we use the, correct mindset, we could learn how to actually feel. And that's what makes humans the most powerful, entities walking on this planet, that we could see at least. Is that the power? We have the power to like use our higher faculties of mind through sound and frequencies and things like that. So that's what inspired me to do it, just combining the two worlds, to bring people a new view on what health is.
Okay. So who would you say are the spiritual lineages or ancestors or guides that you feel walk with you in your work, or who do you resonate with in this particular work?
Oh, who do I resonate with? I mean, I don't know, to be honest. That's a very interesting question because I feel like a lot of connection to a lot of different like cultures. Like I study a lot of different cultures because I think that the true wisdom, um, I think that it can be found only through experience, but I think we can learn where to look by looking at our ancestors. And I find a lot of inspiration when we look at like China, when we look at Japan, when we look at even like India, because their history hasn't been so diluted. You know, it's more whole. But um, to be honest, I don't even know. What I will say is that I wasn't really big into uh, gardening. I would say before my grandfather died, but on everything. I would say not even a week after he died, I like out of nowhere, I just got this information to grow plants, and I just became obsessed with it. And I just growing plants next to my bed and growing plants everywhere. So I would say that's probably one aspect. Well, not probably, definitely one aspect to it is my grandfather, because he used to be out in the garden growing all the time. He used to make his own wine, like, so I would say that's definitely one aspect to it. Um, but I know that I'm still like learning. And I did have, you know, this one experience with a lady who visited me in a dream, and I don't know, she was just interesting, and she was telling me about herbs to take. And then when I look into the herbs, I swear to God, when I looked into the herbs were exactly what I needed. Like exactly what because I got a whole this was in 2024. I had a dream about a particular herb called lovage root. So then I got an iridology reading, I would say like a month later. And then after I did the iridology, you know, consultation, I really, really kind of had like a some guesses of what I thought they was going to tell me. And it was, of course, it was nothing bad, but it was dealing with my kidneys and my nervous system. I had too much cortisol throughout my system. So, I was causing myself stress. And then when I looked into the properties of lovage root, it works with the kidneys and it helps the body to reduce cortisol. So I'm like, yo, that's crazy. So I don't know who that lady was to this day, but I remember her face like it was yesterday. She looked mad wise. So yeah, now that would be the only thing, but I feel like I'm still learning in that regard for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know we're gonna get ready to wrap up soon, but we got a few more questions for you. For me personally, I wanted to particularly ask you this because when you came up with the whole aspect of like the orange candle and Cascara Sagrada, what role does ritual or intentional ceremony play in your healing work?
Yeah. So the reason why I mentioned the colors is because, at least from, and this is why I said I like to look at the ancients. They say that the color orange works with the season of fall. The fall is the best time to work with the energy of the lungs and the large intestine, because the lungs and the large intestine represent the energy of releasing and letting go. And we could see visibly with our eyes. This is why I like this information so much, is because it's not just woo woo and people is just saying whatever. There's actual, you know, signs that we could see from the natural world that is showing us that the leaves are, you know, falling off the trees and the plants are dropping and everything is going dormant. So it's a season of release. So this is why I brought that up in particular. And then when you talk about intention, in order for you to do anything, you have to have some type of intention and you have to have some type of like purpose. If not, you kind of just like coast. So I feel like when you have that like sense of ritual, for lack of a better word, because everything is a ritual, even cooking, like you got fire, you need water to cook, you got herbs, and that's earth. And then you got the fumes coming up, that's air. It's a whole ritual in your kitchen every single day. But just because you don't call it a ritual doesn't mean that it's not a ritual. So and you can really look at it from every perspective, because a ritual can either help you grow or it can destroy you. Like, let's say you come home from work every day, and a lot of people have the mindset of, oh, I'm tired, I gotta reward myself with a meal. So then they come home, they cook up a meal with all the elements, so it's a whole ritual. Then they sit down and they got all these negative emotions and they watching Netflix and dang, I hate Linda. I hate Robert. He blew me today. I hate that guy. He's the worst. And then you eat your meal with that energy inside of you. And it's kind of like you're putting yourself into like a negative loop. You know what I mean? And you do the same thing every day. So on the other hand, you could come home from work or from whatever you got going on, and then you speak life over your food, and you speak, positivity over your food. And everything is water. So this is why I also like to play music when we are cooking or, doing things like that, because when we play positive tones, like for example, the shamanic drum has been shown to structure water. So when we play in the shamanic drum, we're structuring the water with a frequency that's actually promoting growth in life. So, that's another way that you could look at it, like treat everything as if it was a ritual, for lack of a better word. Or if you don't like, because some people are scared of the word ritual. We could use the word, what's another word? A routine, whatever people want to use. I think that having that like intention, infusing the intention into everything that you do and being on purpose, that's the most important thing when it comes to healing. And that's what the ritual can allow you to do, because it's giving you like a foundation to carry out that intention every day.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely relate to that. Yep. A ritual is a routine. I agree 100%. Yeah, so I think we're going to come to a close. I have a last thing that I absolutely have to ask. If you could offer a closing blessing, a message, or a mantra for people listening, especially those feeling disconnected from their healing path, what would it be?
Don't wait, just start. And that's actually something that I repeat to myself all the time. Like, waiting is a waste of time, because when we wait, we are playing with our experience and we're allowing the most precious, currency to just go. Because a lot of people say time is money, but time is also healing. So once you're in your human experience, you can't waste your precious and valuable time. So I would advise everyone, whenever you don't feel like doing something, because when you start your healing journey, or your mental health journey, or whatever journey you're going to start, you're not going to want to do it at some points. But when your will breaks, that's when you're telling your subconscious mind that you're not really serious. Oh, like I'm playing with this, I'm not really serious. So whenever I would feel that at any point, I would just have to tell myself that waiting is a waste of time. Like, I can't wait and think that I can just take this precious time for granted. Like, it's so precious and valuable to be exactly where we are right now. But if we forget that, that's when we go into things that lead to suffering. So I would just say, I like to repeat to myself every single day, waiting is a waste of time. Waiting is a waste of time. Waiting is a waste of time. Let me not waste my time.
I like it. I like it. Simple yet effective.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. All right, man, brother. It's always a pleasure, man. But I do know you got to get ready, for tomorrow's event. But man, this was an amazing build. I'm definitely, for me personally, I'm gonna replay this and take some notes, because you said a lot of powerful and profound things,
A
and
lot of gems.
yeah, a lot of gems. So we definitely just want to thank you for taking the time out. And for those who, once again, for those who are just coming in, if you can just give them the information of how they can reach out to you, your website, and also about the Roots and Resonance event tomorrow.
Yep. So tomorrow we're going to be having an event titled Roots and Resonance at Nicholas BK in Brooklyn, New York. It's going to be from 5 to 9. We're probably going to start a little at around that time, but we'll probably end a little later because that's usually how things go when we in the flow. And it's going to be a really good time. We're going to talk about a lot of topics. We're going to touch upon some of the things that we talked about here, but we're also going to talk about infinite more things. We're going to have a panel. We're going to have people who deal with Qigong and Reiki. We're going to have people who deal with Western medicine and the perspectives from each side. So it's going to be a lot of really cool stuff, vendors. And then y'all can also find my more information on P1Health.1. So instead of .com, it's .1. So ONE. And yeah, that's my website where we have all the different holistic solutions. So if you got issues with your skincare, we got natural skincare, natural hair care, herbal teas, powders, a lot of stuff. So yeah, that's what we're about. Holistic solutions to help facilitate your transformation.
Yes, indeed.
Man, any last words, Righteous, before we wrap up?
Man, this was powerful. I always enjoy speaking with you and your lady. I always get so much out of it. I'm a student forever, so I always look forward to learning something new, and I can guarantee that I will be learning something new every time you're speaking. So I do appreciate you taking the time to come on our platform and share such beautiful and powerful information that those that are in this community need to hear and need to be aware of. It's a gift, and thank you for sharing your gifts with us.
Yeah, well, thank y'all for having me. I'm very grateful, to be able to help people because that brings me joy. Like I love helping people. So yeah, I'm definitely grateful to y'all for having me here. Thank you all for all the support. And I look forward to more transformation and growth and building.
Yes, indeed.
We definitely got to have you back in the future.
Yes, sure. In the near future. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We could talk about whatever. I'm down.
All right. We see every time we have an encounter, it's like, okay, we didn't.
even off camera, like it's always a learning experience. Like I gotta say this, like even when we were at Stone Mountain, like that was just like a super profound just build, just just having that moment with you, brother. So you already know.
We appreciate it. Yes.
Stone Mountain was a beautiful time for me as well. That sunset was just wow. It's a different sun over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely grateful for that as well, and I look forward to whatever is to come for sure.
Indeed.
Most definitely.
Yes, indeed. Success and blessings.
Yes.
Indeed.
Okay.
All right, family. So up next, we're going to share our Sacred Ashram Ministries commercial. It's going to highlight some of our offerings, some of our sacred technologies, and we've created some of the things we've created to support you on your spiritual walk.
Yes, and what we'll do is, just for the sake of time, we'll still bring the weekly astrology, but that'll probably be a separate video. So just be on the lookout for that for those who do tune in to listen to that. But with that being stated, once again, we just thank you for everybody who has taken the time out to join us today on the Righteous Frequency podcast. I'm Pacoso Knowledge, and you are
Righteous.
All right. That being stated, we will see you all next week. And we just thank you all for taking the time with us so that we can bring you all this knowledge. And thank you once again to our brother GJ with P1Health.
Peace. Thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. Peace.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
For a limited time only, you can take advantage of our special offer on our detailed astrological reports.
Oops, here we go.
Don't miss out on this opportunity to connect with your cosmic divinity. At Sacred Ashram Ministries, we offer profound insights through our astrological report readings.
Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Well, family, it's finally that time. It's the class that a lot of people have been waiting for, the Dragon Magic 103 class. We did Dragon Magic 102 back in 2020, and now in 2025, we're doing the Dragon Magic 103 class, the long-awaited class. It's going to be on April 27th of 2025 at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Tickets will be $100. The website you can go to get your tickets, family, will be at www.newlifetools.org, newlifetools.org. Come to the event. If you've been looking to take your dragon magic, your dragon altar, and your dragon information to the next level, this is the class you want to be in, family. Peace and blessings.
Sacred Ashram Ministries, we believe in the power of prayer and the guidance of divine forces. Whether you seek peace, healing, or clarity, our prayer request page is here for you. Simply share your prayer intentions and let us unite in spiritual harmony to manifest your desires. Discover the angels watching over you with our new Guardian Angel Numerology Calculator. Enter your name and date of birth and unveil the celestial beings offering their powerful protection and guidance in your life. Visit sacredashramministries.org today. Illuminate your path with prayer and the divine wisdom of your guardian angels.
At Sacred Ashram Ministries, we offer profound insights through our astrological report readings. They make a great gift, so don't miss out on this opportunity to connect with your cosmic divinity.
Ever wondered how the stars could guide your every step? Unlock the cosmic blueprint of your life with the 30-day astrological calendar and transit report from Sacred Ashram Ministry. With daily planetary influences, you'll gain insights into how celestial movements impact your mood, energy, and decisions. Imagine knowing the best times for important events, career changes, relationship developments, or self-care. Our auspicious dates feature equips you with powerful timing. Plus, with challenge navigation tips, transform obstacles into stepping stones for growth. Want real-time updates? The bonus calendar file seamlessly integrates into your device, keeping you aligned throughout your daily routines. For just $20.20 as a one-time purchase, or the affordable subscription for a low cost of $14.44 monthly, ensure you stay in sync with the cosmos with new reports every 30 days. Embrace clarity and purpose in your life. Ready to illuminate the temple within? Purchase your report today and harness the power of the stars.